Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here to the start of this week's Fan Fridays, leading off with a battle from Maro. He's been on Fan Fridays before. We've had some crazy combos, and now let's check out what the new Mega Sceptile is going to do next to the Heliolisk. So it's kind of interesting. We have Heliolisk, a Pokemon that has been used before. Like, it finds really niche use inside of like electric team combos, and it's been next to a Mega Sceptile before. This isn't new, but in the 7th generation, when you have all of these other Pokemon to choose from, this is an interesting combo. We're also going to see what happens when we get the new and improved Mega Sceptile, now getting that speed immediately. So it looks like Hippowdon is going to go for the Protect, and alright, that's already going to be interesting, because no Mega Evolution on the first turn. We have Heliolisk going for the Electrify, and that's a Mimic. Sceptile has... Is that going to work? Okay, now I'm really intrigued as to what's going on, because safe turn from the opponent, kind of set-up-y, but also at the same time, you don't want to just have like Mega Sceptile come in, leave Storm your Hippowdon, and then it's dead. So at least there's a little bit of pressure right there that kind of allows for this weird Electrify setup, and then I guess, you know, there's just a good amount of resistance on that team overall. Now, Sceptile uses the Electrify, hits the Hippowdon, so using that massive amount of speed to just kind of hit everything. Parabolic Charge, there's the Lightning Rod. That's what makes this combo so good, because in theory, you're hitting both opponents, you're getting the sustain. Parabolic Charge also got a buff in the 7th generation to do, I think, 30% more damage. So there's a good amount of extra damage floating around. Sceptile, though, will use that Electrify to make the opponent's moves Electric type, then grab the stat boosts. So that means Sceptile gains +2 in one turn. The power trick is going to kind of hinder the Sceptile, I guess, because that's attack and special attack. That gets averaged out. So, or was it swap? I don't remember. Shuckle does weird things. I wasn't paying attention to the text. I was talking about how cool it is that the Electrify just completely shuts down the opponent. Like, look at that. So depending on whatever's going on, you effectively make it like a 1v1-ish kind of setup, but it's giving you stats. So we're going to see the Surf right there. Sceptile takes a very, very tiny amount of damage, and then Hippowdon, it can't do anything. It can't hit super effective. Like, if it was trying to do some moves, it's not going to happen, because Sceptile's Lightning Rod is going to come in, and that's pretty much all that you need to know. Like, we're getting multiple layers of that Lightning Rod for special attack, and then the opponent, you know, if Shuckle can't one-shot everything, things are going to get pretty difficult, because then we have Heliolisk healing up a lot as well. I imagine there's also some other things going on. Gastrodon, I feel like that combo's more with the Heliolisk because of the dry skin, and then we also have Politoed to bring the rain, so things kind of get crazy, but that's all it takes. That's all it takes right there. After all of the setup, we finally have Sceptile going and pushing for that win, because that's a Giga Drain. It's going to go and kill the Hippowdon, and then we're gaining special attack on top of that, and then we're going to go and see Shuckle. You know, it's not taking a lot of damage, so the opponent, in a weird way, has like a solid enough front line. It just can't finish off anything. So maybe against something that's ultimately hyper aggressive, this strategy might struggle a bit more with it. But that's kind of it. Like, if you're going to get hit by a super effective hit that's faster than you on the first turn, then you're going to lose regardless of how crazy your strategy is. And that's going to be Sceptile with the Electrify, shutting down the Infernape. This is so troll. You're pretty much making it to where the opponent doesn't get a chance to do anything, and then you just get, like, free stats and then free damage on the opponent. So Infernape actually taking a nice little chunk right there. Super effective. Infernape going for the close combat. It's trying to KO the Heliolisk, but there's nothing that can be done about it. Just turns it electric and then distracts, and that's going to be it. So Toxic finally lands. I don't think it really mattered for the Sceptile that Shuckle got really unlucky on the Toxic the last couple turns. That, you know, Sceptile is just going to go to full health anyways. Like, I can hit the Infernape with a Giga Drain at that range. It's still going to be fine. Or, like, you know, Infernape's going to die, and Sceptile is going to be getting a lot of health back. Shuckle doesn't have a huge amount of hit points, so Sceptile really wouldn't gain a lot from Giga Draining Shuckle. That's kind of the breakdown that we have right now, but overall, like, Heliolisk just puts down the stats, and then Sceptile just puts down the hate as well. Going for the Shuckle, not going to be enough to KO the Shuckle, though. Gets a little bit of extra damage down, but Heliolisk will come in with that Surf, and then double down on the damage. Heliolisk is interesting overall, because it has a good amount of special attack and a good amount of speed. There's nothing like really pushing it to the limits. I think that's kind of that's like really one of the unfortunate things, that it has Parabolic Charge, unique move. It has the Electrify. Well, actually, does Day-to-Day get Parabolic Charge? I think that's like the only other Pokemon that gets it. Then we also have Electrify, a unique move on a Pokemon that's a normal Electric typing. Like, there's a lot of unique things about the Heliolisk, or special things, but then the stats just don't really work out. Like, it hits good, but doesn't like one-shot anything, especially even if you have like Life Orb or Choice Item or something like that. Heliolisk kind of lacks on damage, and that's not tanky at all. It has like 0 durability, so it needs like some kind of evolution. Like, if it was a bulkier Pokemon, like, forget about Heliolisk being slow. If it was a bulky Pokemon, and as I'm talking, you know, everything's just dying. That's gonna be Lapras getting one-shot by the Giga Drain, Sceptile at full health, Heliolisk comes in with a tiny little bit of damage needed to finish off the Shuckle. That's gonna be in the battle, because I'm just like talking about, like, this is working. This strategy is awesome, and like, just shutting down your opponent. Like, you just make it to where, like, if Heliolisk comes off the field, you know, say it gets knocked out or something, and then Sceptile is still working, like, you're going to be able to keep your Pokemon safe. The opponent is losing one of their Pokemon for the turn, and if you can bring in something fast, something strong, something with synergy, you know, the other opponent's Pokemon isn't going to be able to do much of anything either. So, yeah, there's a lot of intricate things going on. Alright, so between setting up for this battle, I looked up Heliolisk's stats, and it was even worse than I thought. It's like 60 something on the hit points, and then 50 something on the defense, and like 90 on special defense. So it's just not durable at all. However, it can survive to like not get directly one shot. Like, it has to eat a really powerful, just solid hit to get one shot. So if the attention is not on the Heliolisk, then it's going to be pretty solid for the Sceptile. I'm also wondering if Heliolisk has a Focus Sash, that way it can survive. But there we go, Electrify begins. And I'm pretty sure you can't Mega Evolve on this first turn now that I'm thinking about it, because Mega Sceptile becomes Lightning Rod, and Electrify would just get absorbed by the Lightning Rod, and then that kind of makes things a little awkward. But actually, wait, that would still kind of work, but at least if you're electrifying the opponent, you know that Sceptile or Heliolisk is going to absorb that move, so it makes it towards a really safe first turn. There's a lot of weird mechanics that it interferes, but an electrified Pokemon that has Lightning Rod is also like one of the most devastating things I've ever seen in this game. So yeah, Heliolisk comes in with Parabolic Charge, Lightning Rod, there's the stats. It's kind of the same thing over. But it's because Heliolisk is like the only electrified Pokemon. If there was like a third stage, 8th gen. Alright, let's turn 8th gen into the new 4th gen. We get those evolutions of the existing Pokemon, and then Heliolisk gets an evolution and becomes tankier or something. It needs more stats, and that'd be absolutely ridiculous. Electrify on a new Pokemon would also have potential for these weird combos. And the Mega Sceptile, I guess you don't need a Pokemon like Mega Sceptile, because Mega Sceptile does the job well enough, and that's going to be kind of it. So Primeape comes in with that Scarf Poison Jab to outspeed and try to wreck the Mega Sceptile. Not enough to KO though, even though it's a really solid, super effective hit. Sceptile comes in with that Giga Drain. Does not want to mess around with the Primeape though. Saw this one coming, and that's going to be massive healing off the Primeape. One hit KO, because we've already been doing the shutdown, and that's another part of this. That Heliolisk, it's laying down the damage, and Sceptile is fast enough to where, okay, it's either using Electrify and the opponent doesn't get to hit, or it's getting it's one-shotting the opponent and then they don't get to hit. There we go. Like, it just works that way. So that's going to be Psychic onto the Heliolisk. I guess if you're going to attack Heliolisk with a special attack, it's just going to find a way to survive. So Reuniclus does not get enough to one-shot that, and now that's just going to sustain back up. We're going to see what the Sceptile does in this situation. Ooh. The Quash, though, going to be a little unfortunate for the Sceptile. And then Heliolisk comes in with the Parabolic Charge, Lightning Rod, and this still works. Like, Heliolisk can run a couple of weird things outside of the Focus Sash. Like, if it has a big root, I think you can get a little bit more than a Leftovers. If not, it can run a Leftovers and just have... It can be frustrating that, if it's getting half its health back or more every turn, it's going to take that extra hit to take down that sometimes doesn't work out. So we do have all the stuff going down on the Sceptile as well, but it does Giga Drain onto the Reuniclus. Reuniclus has a solid amount of hit points, so Sceptile kind of gaining a nice chunk as well. And then Sableye doesn't really get to do much because it's Prankster and we can still hit it for a solid amount of damage. That's going to be Farfetch'd, though. I see Farfetch'd, if there's another Quash coming from that Sableye, then Sceptile will get KO'd by something, so Sableye, there's Quash. We lose our Sceptile now, but I mean, that's still going to be damage from the Heliolisk, so Heliolisk comes in. Sceptile's stat boosts don't really matter with that Quash, unfortunately, and Farfetch'd will not get one-hit KO'd, so kind of showing the lacking of Heliolisk's damage, that unless you have that Life Orb, you know, it's not going to be the most insane. But at the same time, they're going to be focusing the Mega Pokemon. They're going to be looking at the threat and not the Heliolisk, which kind of adds up, and then that's going to be the Brave Bird taking down the Sceptile. But everything's pretty low. Like, that's just Parabolic Charge range. Like, you just come in on Heliolisk, Parabolic Charge, that's going to be the GG right there. And then we bring in the Gastrodon. And Gastrodon, oh, the opponent forfeit. I was about to say, Gastrodon kind of adds another layer to all of this when you think about it, because it has the Storm Drain, or Rain Dish. Like, I always get those ones mixed up. It's Storm Drain, right? And then what happens is you have Heliolisk use Surf. Surf is going to boost Gastrodon's special attack by 1, and then that means you can also have Gastrodon use Surf, and then that's going to boost the health with the dry skin on the Heliolisk. So Heliolisk also gets a little bit of sustain out of that as well. And then Politoed, so maybe Politoed also adds to it. Did we actually see Heliolisk's item? Because it's hard to think that's Focus Sash when it has so much sustain, but if it survives, it gets a big hit, and then it gets all of this health back, maybe that could be a way of like, okay, we neutralize the potential one-shot on the Heliolisk, we KO that one-hit KO threat, and now Heliolisk finds like another 2 turns of survival, or something weird like that, because with the Rain active, Heliolisk gets health, and then with just like multiple moves from different sources, it gets health. Other than that, it's charging up the Sceptile, and Sceptile puts out the hate. So, like I said, interesting setup. I want to see more out of it. Unfortunately, like, this is it. Like, we're at the pinnacle of trolling and shutting down the opponent and creativity right here. Like, this is a really cool thing. The Mimic Sceptile goes back to, like, the 3rd generation or something, which also means that we need to have all of the move tutors available in the 7th generation or 8th generation or something at some point, so we don't have these legacy moves that have been plaguing Pokemon. I could rant about this forever, because it's like, I've done so many different videos talking about these little things, but they all add up and kind of show in one video right now. No, we need Heliolisk. It got a buff, which is the weirdest part about this. That Parabolic Charge getting a buff means Game Freak, Senpai noticed Heliolisk, gave it a little bit, and it wasn't enough. So it's like Game Freak afraid of Heliolisk really taking off, that if it got like plus 30 in defense, you know, it actually had like even like 70 hit points, 90, and then 109, that would kind of be a little outrageously beefy, but you know, you kill off its attack stat, and there's more ridiculous Pokemon out there, so that would be really interesting. But no, it seems like Game Freak doesn't want to kind of add to that, because when you think about the split damage in double battles, as well as the half healing, you know, that extra little bit of health that the Heliolisk gains from the new buff on Parabolic Charge, it doesn't really matter. And that this combo can really only be done with like the Sceptile. Are there any Mimic Volt Absorb Pokemon? I'm guessing... Well, actually, no, not Volt Absorb, Lightningrod. So yeah, like the Lightningrod is also a fairly limited ability. I guess Motor Drive could also do that as well. Did we see an Electrify Motor Drive? I feel like that might have existed at one point on Fan Fridays. And then, like, you know, you just get infinite amount of speed while shutting down the opponent's attack. So yeah, there's interesting combos there. If Game Freak and Pokemon Company, they want to be doubles-oriented, kind of have to focus on this creativity, but at the same time, like, we don't see these combos kind of snowball out of control anymore. It's a lot more standard play, a lot less creativity inside of Pokemon, which is really unfortunate these days, but there's, like, little glimpses there that could be discovered or have these other changes. Looking into Electrify as a Z move, only gain special attack. It's it. But that's kind of it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Starting off Fan Fridays pretty strong. We'll see how the rest of them go. And I'll see you guys in the next Fan Fridays.